When you reach the age of 60 and beyond, one of the biggest challenges that quietly begins to unfold in your body is the gradual loss of muscle. This condition has a name, sarcopenia. Most people assume that shrinking muscles, weakness, and declining strength are simply an unavoidable part of aging, but here's the truth. Muscle loss is not just aging, it is the result of multiple underlying factors that, if addressed, can significantly slow down or even reverse the process. Now, let me ask you this. Have you noticed that lifting a bag of groceries feels heavier than it used to, or climbing a set of stairs leaves you a little more winded than before? That's not simply because of the number on your birth certificate. That's your muscles telling you they're not getting the signals, the nutrients, or the environment they need to stay strong. And the good news is there are things you can do right now to turn that around. The traditional belief has been that once you hit your 60s, muscle decline is inevitable. But studies now show that sarcopenia is not primarily about aging itself. It's about what happens inside your body as you age. There are four main contributors: chronic low-grade inflammation, killer hormonal decline, poor nutrient absorption, and lack of muscle stimulation. Put together, they create the perfect storm for muscle wasting. But here's the hook: each of these factors is actually modifiable. Let's start with inflammation. Inflammation is like a slow-burning fire inside your body. It damages muscle fibers, reduces recovery after exercise, and creates an environment where your muscles simply cannot rebuild. Imagine trying to build a house on a foundation that's constantly shifting. No matter how good your building materials are, the structure won't last. That's exactly what inflammation does to your muscles. And unfortunately, as we get older, the foods we eat, the medications we rely on, and even hidden conditions like insulin resistance can drive that inflammation even higher. The second big factor is hormonal decline. After 60, your body produces less growth hormone, less testosterone, and even less estrogen in women, all of which play vital roles in muscle protein synthesis. Without those signals, your body has trouble telling your muscles, hey, we need to grow. We need to repair. We need to stay strong. It's like having the construction crew at your work site, but forgetting to hand them the blueprints. They're ready to work, but they don't know what to do. Now, let's talk about nutrient absorption. This is one area that's overlooked by almost everyone. You might be eating enough protein, you might even be taking supplements, but if your stomach acid and digestive enzymes are not strong enough, you're not breaking that protein down into amino acids. That means your muscles never get the raw material they need to rebuild. This is one of the hidden reasons so many seniors struggle with muscle loss despite eating what seems like the right foods. If the digestion is weak, the muscles remain weak. And of course, the fourth factor is lack of stimulation. Muscles are what we call "use it or lose it" tissue. The less you challenge them, the faster they shrink. But the mistake many seniors make is thinking they have to do intense punishing workouts to keep muscle. The reality is even light resistance, simple body weight exercises, walking uphill, or using resistance bands is enough to signal your muscles to hold on and grow. That's the secret. Muscles respond to stimulation at every age. They don't know you're 60. They only know whether they're being challenged or not. So why does all of this matter? Because muscles are not just about strength or appearance. Your muscles are your metabolic engineer. They burn calories, they regulate blood sugar, they stabilize your joints, and they even protect you from falls and injuries. Losing muscle is not just about getting weaker. It's about losing one of the most important organs in your entire body. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Research shows that even individuals in their 70s, 80s, and beyond can build muscle if the right strategies are in place. That means it's the silent problem of inflammation and joint pain never too late. It's not about chasing your 20-year-old self. It's about making sure your body remains functional, independent, and resilient as you age. And this is why I always emphasize: don't accept sarcopenia as normal aging. It's not, it's a condition you can influence. Let me give you a simple mental picture. Imagine two people at age 70. One has been told muscle loss is inevitable, so they slow down, they stop exercising. They eat whatever is convenient, and they accept stiffness and weakness as their new normal. By 75, they're struggling to get out of a chair without support, walking with assistance, and their risk of fracture skyrockets. Now picture the second person. They understood the power of maintaining muscle, so they added in light resistance training, supported their digestion, managed inflammation, and gave their body the nutrients it needed. At 75, they're still carrying groceries, gardening, playing with their grandkids, and walking without pain. Same age, completely different quality of life. That's the difference addressing sarcopenia can make. The truth is, your body wants to hold on to muscle. It's wired to survive, and strength is survival. But it needs the right environment. Without reducing inflammation, without improving digestion, without stimulating the muscles, and without supporting hormonal balance, the body simply cannot keep up. But once you address those things, you give your muscles permission to grow again, even after 60. So here's the takeaway. Muscle loss is not just aging. It's a collection of correctable factors that accelerate with age. If you tackle the root causes, you give your body a fighting chance to stay strong, active, and independent for decades to come. The key is not waiting until the decline is severe. Start now, because the earlier you intervene, the more muscle you preserve and the more strength you maintain for the years ahead. When most people think about aging and joint pain, they imagine their cartilage simply wearing down like the tread on an old tire. They assume stiffness and soreness are just the price of getting older. But what if I told you the real culprit behind joint pain and even muscle loss is not just wear and tear, but something much more powerful, something happening inside your body every single day? That hidden factor is chronic inflammation. And the truth is, chronic inflammation can quietly destroy your joints, weaken your muscles, and accelerate the aging process. Killer, now here's the hook. Inflammation isn't always bad. In fact, you need inflammation to survive. If you cut your finger or strain a muscle killer, your immune system sends out inflammatory signals to repair the damage. That's a short-term healthy response. But when inflammation becomes chronic, when it never turns off, it changes from your body's repair system into your body's destruction system. And that's exactly what happens in your joints and muscles after 60. Think about your joints for a moment. They're cushioned by cartilage, lubricated by synovial fluid, and stabilized by tendons and ligaments. Under normal conditions, these structures work smoothly like a well-oiled machine. But when chronic inflammation is present, enzymes are released that actually eat away at cartilage. Over time, the cushioning thins out, the fluid loses its quality, and bone starts rubbing on bone. That's when you get the grinding, stiffness, and pain that so many seniors complain about. And it doesn't stop there. Chronic inflammation also attacks your muscles. It interferes with a process called muscle protein synthesis, the very process your body uses to repair and build muscle tissue. Imagine trying to patch a hole in a wall while someone else keeps tearing down the drywall. No matter how much material you add, you'll never get ahead. That's what chronic inflammation does. It breaks down muscle faster than your body can rebuild it. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Chronic inflammation is often silent. You don't necessarily feel it until the damage is advanced. Many people walk around with low-grade inflammation for years without realizing it. Their joints get a little stiffer, their muscles feel a little weaker, and they chalk it up to age, but in reality, their immune system is running in overdrive, producing inflammatory chemicals that slowly erode their tissues. By the time the pain is noticeable, the damage is already significant. So, what drives this chronic inflammation? There are several common triggers, and chances are you're exposed to them every single day. Processed foods loaded with refined carbs and seed oils are some of the biggest culprits. They spike insulin, they damage the gut, and they flood your body with omega-6 fatty acids that fuel the inflammatory fire. Add to that a sedentary lifestyle, hidden infections in the gums, or gut, poor sleep. You're in high stress and you have the perfect recipe for chronic inflammation. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed how some people in their 60s and 70s are still hiking, gardening, and moving with ease while others struggle ginger, circulation and recovery booster just to get out of a chair? The difference often comes down to inflammation. One body is running like a clean engine while the other is rusting from the inside out. But here's the hope. Chronic inflammation is not permanent. The body has an incredible ability to calm inflammation and even repair damage when given the right environment. This is why lifestyle changes can be so powerful. When you switch from processed foods to anti-inflammatory whole foods, when you add in healing nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, turmeric, and green vegetables, and when you lower stress and improve sleep, you can dramatically lower inflammatory markers. That means less pain, better mobility, and more strenular. And here's another key point. Most people overlook inflammation and insulin resistance go hand in hand. When your body is constantly exposed to high insulin levels from sugar and refined carbs, it creates oxidative stress that damages your tissues. That oxidative stress triggers inflammation and the cycle continues. This is why so many people with type 2 diabetes also struggle with muscle loss and joint problems. Their bodies are literally stuck in a loop of inflammation and breakdown. But once you fix insulin resistance, you also calm inflammation and suddenly your body has a chance to heal. Now let's connect this back to muscles again because muscles are your biggest asset as you age. Chronic inflammation doesn't just prevent muscle growth, it actually accelerates muscle wasting. It increases levels of cortisol, the stress hormone killer, which further breaks down muscle protein. It also decreases anabolic hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, making it harder to build strength. This is why so many older adults find it nearly impossible to gain muscle, not because they can't, but because their bodies are stuck in an inflammatory state. The fascinating thing is that when you reduce inflammation, your muscles almost immediately start responding better. Protein synthesis improves, recovery time shortens, and strength gains become possible again. It's almost as if you've taken the brakes off your body's natural ability to heal. Here's a little visualization. Think of your joints and muscles as a city. In a healthy body, construction crews are constantly repairing roads, maintaining bridges, and keeping the city functional. But in a body with chronic inflammation, vandals are running around, destroying roads, breaking bridges, and setting fires faster than the crews can respond. The longer it goes on, the more the city falls apart. But if you catch it early, and if you can stop the vandals, the city can be rebuilt. That's what reducing chronic inflammation does for your joints and muscles. Now, I know what many people are thinking, but I've had joint pain for years. It's too late for me, and I want to challenge that belief. Research shows that even individuals with advanced osteoarthritis, even people in their late 70s, can reduce pain, improve mobility, and rebuild muscle if they address inflammation. It's not about erasing every bit of damage, it's about stopping the progression and giving your body the tools to function at its best with what you have. And here's the most empowering part. Lowering inflammation is something you can do every single day. With every meal, with every choice to move instead of sit, with every night of quality sleep, you're either fueling inflammation or calming it. You have far more control over the process than you realize. So the next time you feel stiff getting out of bed or notice your muscles don't recover as quickly, don't just accept it as age. Ask yourself, what's fueling the inflammation in my body, and what can I do to turn it down? Because the reality is killer. Chronic inflammation is one of the most destructive forces in aging, but it's also one of the most reversible. And when you address it, your joints loosen up, your muscles rebuild, and you get back the vitality that so many people assume is gone forever. When it comes to joint health, most people immediately think about pain relievers, anti-inflammatory drugs, or joint injections as the only solutions available. But what if I told you there is a natural spice, something that has been used for thousands of years that has powerful abilities to protect your joints, reduce stiffness, and even support long-term mobility? That spice is turmeric, and the secret inside turmeric is a compound called curcuminular, which may be one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories ever discovered. Now here's the hook. The average person over 60 who struggles with joint pain doesn't actually have a lack of medication in their body. What they really have is a lack of natural anti-inflammatory compounds that the body can recognize and use. And that's exactly why turmeric is so unique. Unlike synthetic drugs that simply mask painkiller, turmeric goes to the root of the problem, inflammation, and helps calm it down naturally without the long list of side effects. Think about what happens inside your joints as you age. The cartilage that cushions your bones begins to wear down. The lubricating fluid inside the joint becomes less effective, and low-grade great inflammation begins to eat away at the joint tissues, are creating stiffness and discomfort. That's why so many people over 60 wake up in the morning with knees that don't bend as easily, hips that feel locked, or fingers that are swollen. But curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, has been shown to actually block certain molecules in the body that trigger this joint inflammation. That means less pain, less swelling, and better mobility. What's really fascinating is that curcumin works on the same inflammatory pathways that pharmaceutical drugs target, pathways like NF-κB and Chios-2, but it does so in a gentler, more natural way. It's almost like nature's built-in pain reliever designed without the harmful side effects of long-term medication use. This is especially important for seniors because so many people in their 60s and 70s are already on multiple medications. Adding more drugs to the list often creates new problems. But turmeric is different. It supports the body instead of overwhelming it. Now, let me give you a mental picture. Imagine your joints as hinges on a door. Turmeric, the joint-protecting powerhouse over time, dust, rust, and friction, cause the hinge to squeak and stick. Most people reach for oil to loosen the hinge, but if the hinge is already corroded, the oil doesn't do much. Turmeric acts more like a cleaner. It removes the rust at the source, calms the friction, and allows the hinge to move freely again. Cure. That's the difference between masking joint pain and truly addressing the inflammation that causes it. Here's another hook. Turmeric doesn't just benefit the joints, it has systemic effects throughout the entire body. That means when you drink turmeric tea or take it as part of your diet, you're not only helping your knees or hips, you're lowering inflammation everywhere. That's critical because the same inflammation that damages joints also accelerates aging in your muscles, your arteries, and even your brain by calming down the fire of inflammation. Turmeric helps protect multiple systems at once. But there's one important thing I have to mention. Simply sprinkling turmeric on your food isn't always enough. The body has a hard time absorbing curcumin on its own. This is why traditional medicine systems like Ayurveda combine turmeric with black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called pipin, which boosts curcumin absorption by as much as 0%. This combination has been used for centuries, and modern science has now confirmed why it works so well. So if you want to really experience the benefits of turmeric, you need to pair it with black pepper or a healthy fat like coconut oil. Now let's tie this back to what happens after 60. At this age, the body naturally produces fewer anti-inflammatory compounds, and the immune system becomes more prone to overreacting. That's why seniors are more likely to develop conditions like arthritis, joint stiffness, or chronic pain. Turmeric essentially gives your body extra support in balancing that immune response blur. It tells your system, calm down, don't overreact, let's repair instead of destroy. That's incredibly powerful when it comes to preserving mobility and independence later in life. I want you to think about what mobility really means. It's not just walking without pain. Mobility is your ability to garden, play with your grandchildren, travel, or get in and out of a chair without struggling. When joints are inflamed and stiff, all of those activities become harder. But when inflammation is reduced and mobility returns, killer life suddenly feels open again. And that's exactly what turmeric has the potential to offer. Not just less pain, but more freedom. Now, here's something even more interesting. Curcumin has been studied for its ability to protect cartilage itself. Inflammation doesn't just cause pain, it actually breaks down cartilage, leading to arthritis over time. But curcumin helps block enzymes that degrade cartilage and supports the body's natural repair mechanisms. That means turmeric isn't just about temporary relief, cures, it's about long-term joint protection. For someone over 60, this is critical because the goal isn't just to feel good for a day. It's to protect your joints for the next 10, 20, or even 30 years. Let me share a little story to drive this point home. I once spoke with a man in his late 60s who had been dealing with knee pain for over a decade. He was skeptical about natural remedies because he had tried so many things with little success. But when he consistently started drinking turmeric tea with black pepper every morning, combined with cleaning up his diet, something surprising happened. Within weeks, he reported his morning stiffness was less severe. Within months, he was walking longer distances without pain, and the best part, he didn't have to rely on as many over-the-counter painkillers anymore. His words were, "I feel like I got part of my life back." That's the power of giving your body natural tools it can actually use. And here's the kicker, turmeric is inexpensive, widely available, and safe for most people. It doesn't require a prescription, it doesn't cost hundreds of dollars, and it doesn't come with the same risks as medications that can damage your liver, kidneys, or stomach lining. It's one of those rare cases where something simple and natural can truly rival modern interventions. Of course, no single spice is a miracle cure. Turmeric works best when it's part of a bigger lifestyle approach paired with an anti-inflammatory diet, regular movement, and adequate sleep. But as part of that lifestyle, it can be one of the most powerful tools for keeping your joints strong and your body active. So the next time you feel your knees ache when you stand up or your hands swell after gardening, instead of thinking this is just age catching up to me, remember there are natural ways to fight back. Turmeric is one of them. It's not just a spice. It's nature's gift to protect your joints, soothe inflammation, and keep you moving no matter your age. When most people think of ginger, they think of it as just a spice for cooking or something you sip in tea when you have an upset stomach. But ginger is far more powerful than that. This root has been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, and modern research is finally proving what ancient cultures already knew: ginger has remarkable healing properties. And one of its greatest benefits, especially for people over 60, is its ability to improve circulation and support muscle recovery. Here's the hook. After 60 Uller, one of the silent problems almost no one talks about is declining circulation. Your blood vessels stiffen, your heart doesn't pump as strongly, and your blood becomes more sluggish. What does that mean? It means oxygen and nutrients don't reach your muscles and joints as effectively. And when that happens, your muscles struggle to repair after exercise, your joints become stiffer and your energy levels plummet. But ginger acts almost like a natural pump booster. It helps improve blood flow, allowing those vital nutrients to reach your tissues more efficiently. Think of your bloodstream as a highway system. When traffic is moving smoothly, oxygen, amino acids, and vitamins get delivered to your muscles and joints quickly, and waste products are cleared out. But when circulation is poor, it's like a traffic jam. Nutrients get stuck, waste builds up, and recovery slows to a crawl. This is one of the hidden reasons so many older adults feel sore for days after even light activity. Ginger helps clear the traffic. It relaxes blood vessels, improves blood viscosity, and boosts circulation so the delivery trucks of your body can keep moving. Now, let's how this tea helps with digestion and absorption. Connect this directly to muscle recovery. Every time you exercise, even if it's just walking, climbing stairs, or doing light resistance training, you create tiny micro tears in your muscle fibers. This is normal and necessary. It's how muscles grow stronger. But for the repair process to work, your body needs to send nutrients like amino acids, electrolytes, and antioxidants into the muscle. Without good circulation, those nutrients never fully arrive and the micro tears linger, leaving you sore and weak. Ginger accelerates the delivery system. It's like putting your body's recovery process into high gear so your muscles heal faster and grow stronger. Here's another hook. Ginger also reduces something called oxidative stress. Every time your muscles contract, they produce free radicals, which are unstable molecules that damage tissue. Normally, your body neutralizes these free radicals with antioxidants, but as you age, antioxidant defenses decline and the damage adds up, leading to slower recovery and more pain. Ginger contains powerful antioxidants like gingerol and shogal, which directly combat oxidative stress. That means less damage, faster healing, and better endurance. Now, let's talk about pain. Muscle soreness and joint stiffness after activity are two of the biggest barriers that stop older adults from exercising. If every time you go for a walk, your knees swell, or every time you do some lightweight training, your muscles ache for 3 days, you're far less likely to stay consistent. Ginger addresses this head-on. It has natural pain-relieving properties that rival over-the-counter drugs, but without the harmful side effects. In fact, there are several studies have shown that ginger supplementation can significantly reduce exercise-induced muscle soreness. Imagine being able to move more and recover faster, all because of a simple route you can add to your diet. Let's go deeper into the circulation piece because this is where ginger truly shines. But poor circulation doesn't just affect your muscles. It affects your brain, your heart, and even your skin. Reduced blood flow to the brain contributes to brain fog, memory issues, and slower reaction times. Reduced blood flow to the heart increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. But ginger helps improve nitric oxide production, which relaxes blood vessels and keeps them flexible. That means your entire vascular system works better, and your risk of age-related decline in multiple organs is reduced. So when you consume ginger regularly, you're not just improving muscle recovery, you're protecting your entire body. Picture this, you're 65 years old, you decide to take up light strength training because you've heard it can help with muscle loss. The first week you feel sore and discouraged, you wonder if it's even worth it, but instead of quitting, you start adding ginger tea into your daily routine. After a couple of weeks, you notice the soreness isn't as intense. Your muscles feel looser and you recover faster. Suddenly, exercise doesn't feel like punishment. It feels doable. That consistency builds momentum, and over time your strength improves, your balance gets better, and you feel younger. That's how ginger creates real practical change. Another fascinating aspect of ginger is its role in blood sugar regulation. High blood sugar damages blood vessels, increases inflammation, and slows recovery. Many seniors struggle with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, often without knowing it. Ginger has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and help stabilize blood sugar levels. Clear. That means less damage to your blood vessels, better circulation, and a reduced risk of the inflammatory conditions that wreck joints and muscles. In other words, and ginger doesn't just help circulation directly. It also removes one of the root causes of poor circulation in the first place. Now, let's zoom out for a moment and think about energy. How many people over 60 complain of constant fatigue? They say, "I just don't have the energy I used to." That fatigue is often linked to poor circulation. If your cells aren't getting enough oxygen and nutrients, they can't produce energy efficiently. Ginger boosts circulation, which means more oxygen delivery to cells and better energy production. So, instead of relying on caffeine or sugar for a temporary boost, ginger helps restore your body's natural vitality from the inside out. Here's a little story to illustrate this. A woman in her early 70s struggled with walking long distances. She would get leg cramps and feel tired halfway through her morning walk. When she started drinking fresh ginger tea daily along with making small dietary changes, she noticed within a few weeks her legs didn't cramp as often and her walks felt easier. The difference improved blood flow, her muscles were finally getting the nutrients they needed, and her body responded by giving her more stamina. Ginger is also a natural blood thinner which helps prevent clot formation. Now, of course, anyone on blood thinning medication needs to be careful and talk with their doctor before increasing ginger intake, but for most people, this mild thinning effect is beneficial. It keeps blood flowing smoothly and reduces the risk of blockages. That's especially important after 60 when the risk of clot-related events increases. Again, this ties back to recovery. The smoother your circulation, the faster your body can heal, and here's the real gem. Ginger is incredibly versatile. You can consume it as tea, add it to smoothies, use it in cooking, or even take it in concentrated supplement form. It's affordable, accessible, and easy to incorporate into daily life. Unlike complicated health regimens that require drastic changes, ginger is a simple addition that can yield powerful results. So when you think about muscle recovery, don't just think about protein shakes or stretching. Think about circulation, think about blood flow, because at the end of the day, your muscles and joints are only as healthy as the nutrients they receive and the waste they can clear out. Ginger helps make that process efficient, smooth, and reliable. And that can mean the difference between struggling to recover after a simple walk or feeling strong enough to stay active every single day. Most people over 60 think that if they eat enough protein, take their vitamins, and maybe even add a few supplements, their body will automatically absorb and use all of it. But here's the reality. It's not just about what you eat. It's about what you absorb. And after 60, your digestive system changes in ways that make it much harder to extract the nutrients your body desperately needs to maintain muscle and protect joints. Killer. This is one of the hidden reasons why so many seniors lose strength and mobility, even though they believe they're eating the right foods. Killer. Here's the hook. You could be eating a perfect diet on paper, but if your digestion is weak, it's like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. No matter how much you pour in, most of it leaks out. The same thing happens when your stomach acid is too low. Your enzymes are too weak or your gut lining is compromised. Your body never receives the amino acids, minerals, killer, and vitamins it needs to build muscle, reduce inflammation, and keep joints healthy. And that means weakness and stiffness creep in, not because you're not trying, but because your body isn't absorbing. Let's start with stomach acid. Most people think acid is bad, but stomach acid is absolutely essential for breaking down protein into amino acids. Without enough acid, that chicken, fish, or egg you just ate doesn't get broken down properly. Instead of being digested, it ferments, creating gas, bloating, and the connection between tea, protein, and muscle growth indigestion. But more importantly, till your muscles don't get the building blocks they need. By age 60, most people produce significantly less stomach acid than they did in their younger years. That's why so many older adults complain about digestive discomfort, and also why their muscles slowly decline despite eating protein. Low stomach acid means low amino acid absorption, and low amino acid absorption means weak muscles. Now, think about digestive enzymes. Your pancreas makes enzymes like prise, lipase, and amylase which help break down protein, fat, and carbs. But with age, enzyme production declines too. That means even if you eat healthy fats for your joints or protein for your muscles, your body may not fully break them down. Killer. The food ends up passing through without releasing its full value. Imagine buying groceries every week but leaving half the bags in the trunk of your car. You spent the money but you don't get the benefit. That's exactly what happens when you eat nutrient-rich foods without the enzymes to unlock them. But there's another layer here, and it's the gut itself. Your intestines are lined with tiny finger-like projections called villi, which absorb nutrients into the bloodstream. Over time, with inflammation, poor diet, or even certain medications, these villi become damaged. This condition is sometimes referred to as leaky gut. When the villi aren't healthy, they can't absorb nutrients efficiently. That means vitamins like B12, minerals like magnesium and zinc, and even amino acids simply pass through without being utilized. And the result, deficiencies that lead to fatigue, muscle loss, joint pain, and even cognitive decline. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how some people over 60 seem to shrink, losing muscle mass rapidly, while others stay strong and vibrant? It's not just about exercise or genetics. Often, it comes down to how well their digestive system is still working. The person who can absorb nutrients efficiently continues to feed their muscles and joints, while the person with poor digestion is essentially starving their tissues even while eating 3 meals a day. And here's the fascinating part, Claire. Certain foods and habits can either strengthen or weaken your digestion. For example, highly processed foods, refined sugar, and constant snacking overload the digestive system and keep acid and enzymes weak. On the other hand, simple practices like eating whole foods, chewing thoroughly, and incorporating bitter greens can naturally stimulate stomach acid and enzymes. Even apple cider vinegar before meals can support stomach acid production, making it easier for your body to break down protein. These small changes can make a dramatic difference in nutrient absorption. Let's connect this back to muscles and joints. Your muscles require amino acids like leucine, isoleucine, and valine to stimulate growth. They also need minerals like magnesium and potassium for contraction and recovery. Your joints require collagen, which is built from amino acids like glycine and proline, along with vitamin C, to put it all together. If your digestion isn't working, you don't get enough of these building blocks, and your body can't repair. That's why so many people over 60 experience slow wound healing, brittle nails, thinning hair, killer, and sore joints. All signs of poor nutrient absorption. Here's another hook. Poor digestion doesn't just block nutrients from getting in, it also allows toxins and undigested food particles to leak into the bloodstream, triggering inflammation. This means weak digestion actually feeds the same chronic inflammation that damages joints and muscles. It's a double hit. Not only are you not absorbing what you need, but you're also fueling the very process that breaks you down. Fixing digestion isn't just about better absorption, it's about lowering inflammation at its root. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two men, both 65 years old. One eats steak, vegetables, and healthy fats, but struggles with bloating, reflux, and low stomach acid. The other eats a similar diet but has strong digestion and absorbs nutrients well. Over time, the first man's muscles waste away, his joints ache, and he feels weak. The second man maintains muscle. His joints stay flexible and he has more energy. Same food, same age, completely different outcomes. All because of digestion, and here's the empowering truth. Digestion can be improved at any age. You can restore stomach acid levels, support enzymes, and heal the gut lining. Even simple steps like stopping late-night eating, avoiding constant snacking, and allowing more time between meals can give your digestive system a chance to reset. Adding fermented foods like sauerkraut or kefir can help repopulate healthy gut bacteria, which play a critical role in breaking down nutrients, and something as simple as ginger or turmeric tea can soothe inflammation in the gut and make absorption more efficient. I want you to think about this. Your digestive system is like the gateway to your health. If the gate is blocked or broken, nothing else downstream works. But if the gate is open and efficient, every part of your body benefits. Muscles grow best time to drink this tea daily stronger. Joints become more resilient, energy improves, and even your brain functions better. That's why improving digestion is often the missing piece for people over 60 who feel like they're doing everything right but not seeing results. So when it comes to rebuilding muscle and protecting joints, don't just focus on how much protein or how many supplements you're taking. Ask yourself, is my body actually absorbing these nutrients? Because the difference between thriving in your 60s and declining rapidly often comes down to digestion. It's the invisible key that unlocks everything else. When we think about rebuilding muscle and protecting joints after the age of 60, many people immediately focus on the big solutions. the right supplement, the perfect diet, or a magic exercise routine that will solve everything. But here's the truth that most people miss. It's not the occasional effort that transforms your body, it's the small killer, consistent daily habits that add up over time. And this is the hidden secret to why some seniors remain strong, mobile, and independent well into their later years, while others decline rapidly killer. It all comes down to habits repeated day after day. Here's a powerful hook. Your body is not simply the result of your age, it's the result of what you do repeatedly. If your habits slowly weaken digestion, increase inflammation, and deprive muscles of the stimulation they need, you will lose strength and mobility. On the other hand, if your habits consistently support nutrient absorption, muscle activation, and joint protection, you can literally rewrite the story of aging. Imagine two people, both 70 years old. One struggles to climb stairs while the other can walk a mile without pain. The difference is not luck, it's the accumulation of small daily choices. Let's start with the habit of movement. Muscles operate on a fuse it or lose it principle. After the age of 30, we naturally begin to lose muscle mass at a slow rate, and this accelerates after 60 if we don't actively stimulate them. But here's the encouraging part. Even very short bouts of daily strength activity can completely change the trajectory. You don't need to spend hours at a gym. Something as simple as body weight height squats, resistance band pulls, or light dumbbell lifts done consistently can signal your body to maintain and even rebuild muscle tissue. The key is not intensity, it's repetition over time. Think of brushing your teeth. You don't skip brushing for a week and then brush for an hour to make up for it. That wouldn't work in the same way. Muscle requires a steady signal every single day. Now, let's bring in the role of nutrition as a habit. Drinking a cup of anti-inflammatory tea daily, for instance, may not seem like much on its own, but over weeks and months, those compounds reduce chronic inflammation in the joints, improve blood circulation, and enhance recovery after activity. The power is not in the one-time act, it's in the repeated act, and this is where many people go wrong. They try something for a few days, don't see an instant change, and give up, but the body responds slowly, but gradually reshaping itself based on consistent input. If you think of your body as clay, every daily habit is like a small press of the hand. Over time, that clay takes a completely different shape. Another overlooked habit is sleep. Sleep is where the repair happens. Growth hormone, one of the most important hormones for rebuilding muscle and restoring collagen and joints, is released during deep sleep. If your habit is staying up late, scrolling on your phone, or eating right before bed, you rob your body of the time it needs to repair. On the other hand, a simple nightly ritual, turning off screens, keeping the room cool, drinking calming tea, can dramatically improve sleep quality, and over months and years, this habit translates to stronger muscles, healthier joints, and a more youthful body. It's not a one-night fix, but a long-term strategy. Here's another hook. What you do daily is far more powerful than what you do occasionally. Let's compare two examples. One person takes a supplement once in a while, but has poor eating habits every day. Another person eats nutrient-dense foods consistently, even if they don't take supplements. The second person almost always ends up healthier because consistency beats intensity. The body is designed to adapt to what it sees regularly, not what it sees occasionally. Hydration is another simple but profound daily habit. As we age, our sense of thirst declines and many seniors live in a constant state of mild dehydration. This not only affects muscle performance but also the lubrication of joints. Cartilage, which cushions your joints, is like a sponge that requires fluid to stay resilient. Without enough hydration, cartilage becomes brittle, joints become stiff, and pain sets in. Something as small as simple lifestyle habits to add for even more results. Making it a habit to drink water regularly throughout the day can preserve joint health and muscle function. Killer. Again, it's not the glass of water you drink once in a while that matters. It's the consistent intake day after day that keeps tissues nourished. And then there's posture and movement quality. Many people don't realize that the way you sit, stand, and walk every single day is either supporting your joints or damaging them. As slouching compresses the spine while sitting for long hours weakens the glutes and core, but if you make it a habit to stand tall, engage your core and move with intentional, you protect your joints and activate your muscles all day long. These are micro habits, almost invisible, but over years they decide whether you end up with back pain, knee pain, or whether you remain mobile and upright. Think of habits as investments. Every healthy habit you repeat is like depositing money into a bank account. At first, it doesn't look like much, a dollar here, a dollar there, but over time that account grows and one day you realize you've built real wealth. Your body works the same way. Each glass of water, each night of good sleep, each 5-minute stretch, each nutrient-dense meal adds up. And by the time you reach 70 or 80, that accumulated health wealth determines whether you are thriving or declining. Here's a vivid example. Picture two women, both 68 years old. One has made it a habit to walk 20 minutes a day, drink herbal tea for digestion, go to bed by 10 p.m., and strength train lightly 3 times a week. The other has fallen into the habit of late-night TV, processed snacks, little movement, and irregular sleep. 10 years later, the first woman is still gardening, traveling, killer, and enjoying life with her grandchildren. The second struggles with stiffness, fatigue, and dependence on medications. The difference is not luck. It's the compound effect of habits killer, and here's the most encouraging part. It's never too late to build new habits. The human body has an incredible capacity to adapt even in later years. Studies have shown that people in their 70s and 80s can still build muscle mass with resistance training. The gut can heal, the brain can sharpen, the joints can regain flexibility, but it doesn't happen overnight. It happens through daily habits repeated over and over until they reshape the body from the inside out. So, the real power lies not in searching for the perfect solution, but in asking yourself, what can I do every single day that supports my muscles and joints? It doesn't have to be extreme. In fact, the simpler and more sustainable the better, because the easier a habit is to repeat, the more likely you are to stick with it. And when you do, the benefits compound into something extraordinary.